Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to buy an IPO on the SoFi Invest platform. This IPO is for the Reddit IPO, which came out March 11th, 2024. But it works the same for really any IPO on the platform. I'm going to do this on desktop and mobile, and I want to talk about the flipping policy at SoFi because when you buy an IPO, there are some restrictions on selling early, selling within the first 30 days of the IPO. This is important if you're going to buy an IPO on the platform. You want to make sure you know what you're getting into. All right, I'm logged into my SoFi account. I can see there's a new IPO live in my Invest account. I'm going to click on that. And that's going to take me to the Invest tab. I only have an Invest account with SoFi. And when you scroll down, there's this feature to explore IPO investing. I'm going to click on Visit IPO Investing. And this is where the upcoming IPOs show up. They're not always here. Most of the time, there are no IPOs here, but when they do show up, this is where you're going to see them. It takes you through the step-by-step process of how this works. I'm just going to show you on my account, and then you can try it yourself. Here we see the Reddit IPO. It came out March 11th, about 10 days before the IPO, which is going to be next Thursday. IPO companies, they update their S1 filing about 10 days to a week before the eventual IPO. That offers the terms, how many shares are going to be offered, and the price range. All right, I'm going to start this. And what you're doing here is making an indication of interest. That means you're saying, I want to buy X number of shares for X number of dollars. You're going to get a chance to confirm that the night before the IPO. So here we have the expected price range is $31 to $34. And the key dates. Anytime you invest in an IPO on a platform, it's going to tell you to view the prospectus. This is linking directly to the SEC website where the information is provided. We're looking at this S1 well before this comes out. The financials are already in there. This prospectus that came out is updated with the terms. I'm going to participate. Woohoo! Based on your investor profile, you're ready to start investing. Essentially, it's just going to ask you 2 or 3 questions to make sure that you're eligible to invest in IPOs. Most people are. Okay, so here I'm going to the number of shares I want to invest. Now, this is where I recommend people always request more shares than they actually want to buy. It's pretty rare that we see people get their full allotment of shares. So if you request 100 shares for this IPO, you may only get 5 or 10. That's just the way these IPOs work on these platforms. They don't know how many shares they're going to get on the platform. So you indicate your interest, and the number of shares that people request are typically higher than what they receive. So they're going to give you a fraction of how many you request. One thing to note that's important on the SoFi Invest platform is that you need to have cleared funds to place a request for shares. That means you need to deposit your money ahead of time, and it has to clear before you can place the order. I don't have a lot of money in my account right now, and I don't intend to hold Reddit shares for the long term. I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. I'm going to request 10 shares, $340. I know I have that much money in my account. Hit the review button. Review your indication of interest. Shares requested. Estimated maximum price is $34. And $340 is the total estimated maximum cost. Now it says here you must review the prospectus to continue. That's pretty standard. It's going to open up the S1 filing on the SEC website. And once I've clicked that button to review the filing, I can place my order. Now most people should be reviewing this S1 well ahead of this order. I think this is just a technicality where they want you to acknowledge that you've looked at it. You can also look at the IPO Roadshow. I'll put a link into the description where the IPO Roadshow is, but that's really helpful because it's a little more tangible to read that versus going through the several hundred pages of the S1 filing. This next part is important to read because it's laying out their flipping policy. Now, SoFi Invest allows you to sell IPO shares immediately, but it's going to penalize you by not giving you access to future IPOs. And if you do it too many times, it's going to take away your access completely. There's also a $50 fee if you sell your shares within the first 120 days of trading. Now, this says it's an optional fee, so they may or may not charge it. I know within 30 days, I think they're going to charge it. If you wait, 60 to 100 days, it's their discretion. I contacted SoFi about this, and they didn't say much other than they have the option to charge you that $50 fee. Whether they do it or not, that's a risk you take if you sell these shares early. If you're only requesting 10 shares, that $50 fee is a really large amount. If you're requesting 100 and some shares and you actually get a lot of those shares, $50 might not be that big of a deal. But that key date is the 30 days after the IPO because that's when SoFi will penalize you for future access. Now that we've been through that, I'm going to confirm my order. And it says here, your indication of interest has been submitted. What's next? Well, we'll let you know when the pricing is finalized. That happens the night before the IPO. So in this case, it's going to be March 20th for a March 21st IPO. At that point, you can edit or confirm your order, or you can cancel it. You don't have to go through with it. This is just an indication of interest. When the share price is officially announced by the underwriters, you make that final confirmation, and if you get access, you'll get that in your account the next day. Once you've clicked done, it takes you to this page, just a summary of your order and some key dates. You can sign up for text messages and emails for updates on this. So it's good to pay attention to your email, especially that day before the IPO, so you can make that final confirmation to move forward with the purchase. On mobile, just go to your Invest account and scroll down, and you'll find the IPO icon. Tap on that. You'll see the available IPOs, and you'll see mine's already done here because I've already placed the order, but you click Start Now, and you follow through with the same steps we saw on desktop. That's how you order IPOs on both desktop and mobile at SoFi Invest. Keep in mind that you're just requesting shares. This is an indication of interest. There's no guarantee you'll get an allocation, and there's no guarantee that you'll get the number of shares you requested. I requested 10, I might get 1 or 2. I might get 6 shares. It really depends on the number of shares SoFi gets for the IPO and the number of requests made on the platform. Members in good standing who haven't flipped IPOs in the past may get a preferred number of shares, and also SoFi Plus members may also get a preferred number of shares. So read what's on their website. The last thing I want to look at is the flipping policy. On my website, accessipos.com, I have a best brokers for IPO investing page. When you scroll down, there's a table with all the brokers that offer IPO access. There are eligibility requirements. In this case, with SoFi, there are no minimum account levels. There's a 30-day anti-flipping policy. Now we'll look at the FAQs and talk about that. They may charge a $50 fee if IPO shares are sold before the 120th trading day. This is important because if you get a small amount of shares and you go and sell them early, you might get charged this $50 fee, and it pretty much wipes out all of the money you made, or it could make your losses worse. Here is the SoFi IPO flipping policy. This policy hasn't been updated in 3 years, but it's important because they still abide by it. So when you're deciding to buy or sell an IPO stock, you better pay attention because you could be charged a fee. Let's read through this policy. Members who have obtained shares of an IPO through SoFi and sell within the first 30 days are considered flippers and may be prevented from participating in future IPOs for 100 days upon the first violation, 360 days upon the second violation, and permanently. So SoFi looks badly upon flipping shares, especially within the first 30 days. And so while you're allowed to do it, they will impose these delays and possibly take away your access to future IPOs. Keep that in mind if you decide to sell shares early. Now, on top of that, SoFi may charge a $50 fee for the sale of securities obtained through an IPO if the sale takes place prior to the 120th day of trading. So what this means is if you need to calculate 120 days after the IPO to be able to sell shares without this $50 penalty. I called SoFi about this, and they were kind of wishy-washy on it. They said, well, we may charge that, but we usually don't. I wouldn't risk it unless you really want to get rid of these shares. So the 30-day tier is the first one to pay attention to. If you want to participate in future IPOs at SoFi Invest, don't sell within the first 30 calendar days. If you want to avoid that $50 fee, you need to wait 120 trading days. Now, for people who invest more into these IPOs, that $50 fee may not be a big deal. For those who are only investing a few $100s, that's going to wipe out your profits. For IPOs that increase more, they may be more lenient. For example, ARM IPO was on SoFi, and it's been up 100% since the IPO. They may be more lenient on those types of IPOs compared to ones that don't go up as much. That's all for this video. If you like what you saw, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Then head over to accessipos.com and subscribe to my monthly newsletter where I preview upcoming IPOs. This video is not a recommendation to buy or sell any startups mentioned. Pre-IPO and IPO investing involves significant risk. Conduct due diligence by reading the SEC S-1 filings before participating in IPOs. Do not invest in IPOs with money you cannot afford to lose. Thanks for watching.